Good evening and welcome to this breaking news special. The world stands on the edge of a historic financial transformation tonight, as the long-anticipated revaluation of the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong sends shockwaves through the global market. What began as quiet speculation among currency watchers has now erupted into confirmation from multiple major banking networks. The numbers, if verified, are unlike anything the modern financial world has ever seen, and the implications could reshape international economics for decades to come. As details continue to unfold, nations, investors, and analysts are scrambling to comprehend what this means for the global balance of power. For years, investors and analysts have debated whether Iraq's dinar and Vietnam's dong would ever revalue to reflect the nation's true economic strength. Tonight, that question appears to have been answered. Reports indicate that both currencies have undergone a sudden fixed-rate revaluation. The Iraqi dinar is reportedly valued at an unprecedented $480 per unit, and the Vietnamese dong at $249 per unit. These rates, if confirmed, represent one of the most dramatic adjustments in modern financial history. The developments have stunned global observers, challenging traditional expectations and forcing experts to re-examine long-held assumptions about fiat currency systems. Financial institutions around the world are responding with a mix of caution and urgency. Internal banking sources have reportedly seen new exchange figures appear on private trading screens. Although public currency converters and foreign exchange charts still show the old rates, insiders claim that internal systems now reflect the revalued numbers. That discrepancy has fueled intense speculation and confusion across trading circles. Analysts wonder if this could signal a transition toward an entirely new asset-backed monetary era, one that restores real value to national currencies after decades of debt-based finance. At the center of this unfolding story is the Central Bank of Iraq, where a series of closed-door meetings earlier today reportedly confirmed the implementation of the new fixed rate. Inside sources describe an atmosphere of deep significance and restrained celebration as Iraqi leaders signed off on what they called a new chapter of economic sovereignty. This declaration comes after years of financial instability and rebuilding following conflict and political reform. For Iraq, this revaluation could represent more than an economic milestone. It could symbolize a return to global respect and national pride. Meanwhile, across Southeast Asia, the Vietnamese government and central banking authorities are also believed to have coordinated their own revaluation process. The Vietnamese dong, long regarded as one of the most undervalued currencies in the world, now stands on a rate that would dramatically alter Vietnam's economic position. Such a shift could elevate the nation from a manufacturing-based economy to a formidable financial power. Regional financial experts are calling this the most significant coordinated currency move in Asia's modern history, suggesting a deeper alignment of economic policy between Iraq, Vietnam, and their global partners. Behind the scenes, major international banks are quietly adjusting their systems. Several Tier 1 institutions, including some of the world's largest, have reportedly received new internal trading codes tied to these revaluation figures. Although retail banking customers remain locked out from viewing or trading the new rates, private banking clients and verified currency holders are said to be receiving early redemption notices. Secure appointments, digital verification systems, and controlled exchange centers have all been mentioned in connection with what insiders describe as Phase 1 of a global financial transition. Observers note that these events may not be isolated. Economic analysts have long predicted that nations rich in natural resources like Iraq would eventually shift toward asset-backed currencies tied to physical reserves such as gold, oil, and other commodities. If today's reports are correct, this marks the first large-scale move toward such a standard in the 21st century. The implications are vast. A world moving from debt-based money to real verifiable assets could fundamentally transform the structure of global finance. Markets around the world are already reacting. Although public trading systems have not yet updated to show the new currency values, investor sentiment is surging. Trading volumes in related sectors, precious metals, energy, and digital assets are spiking as speculators position themselves for what many are calling the new gold standard era. Economists suggest that once these revaluations are fully integrated, we could see a redistribution of global wealth unseen since the Bretton Woods system collapse in the early 1970s. In Baghdad, the atmosphere tonight is electric. Citizens have gathered outside major bank branches and government offices, hoping to confirm the news firsthand. According to multiple local reports, smaller denomination notes have already been printed and are ready for circulation at the new value. This level of preparation suggests that the revaluation was not a spontaneous act, but a meticulously planned national strategy, years in the making. For a nation long burdened by sanctions and instability, the possibility of becoming one of the strongest currencies in the world has sparked both pride and disbelief. In Vietnam, similar reports of closed-door meetings and regional coordination are emerging. Financial leaders in Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City are believed to have finalized what they're calling regional liquidity channels designed to stabilize and distribute wealth throughout Southeast Asia. The new Dong valuation could dramatically enhance Vietnam's purchasing power, transforming its position in global trade and challenging established economic hierarchies across Asia. International economists are now trying to interpret what this means for the broader global financial order. If both Iraq and Vietnam have successfully transitioned to asset-backed currencies, other emerging economies could follow. This would represent a decisive move away from dependency on the US dollar as the primary global reserve. Such a change could reduce the dollar's dominance in oil and commodity trading, effectively rewriting decades of international economic policy. In the United States, government agencies and financial institutions have remained silent. No official statements have been released from the Treasury or the Federal Reserve, but behind that silence, activity appears intense. Banking insiders describe secure channels of communication being used to coordinate global liquidity flows. Exchange centers in key U.S. states are reportedly preparing for what could be the first wave of private redemptions under new compliance frameworks. If accurate, this would confirm that the U.S. financial system is fully aware of and participating in the revaluation process. Global investors are watching every move. The revaluation of the Iraqi Dinar at $480 per unit and the Vietnamese Dong at $249 per unit would instantly create trillions in new asset value. For those who have held these currencies through years of uncertainty, the moment represents vindication. Many were dismissed as dreamers or conspiracy theorists. Now, with confirmation emerging from banking networks, they may find themselves at the center of one of the greatest wealth redistributions in modern history. Economists at major universities have begun emergency analyses. Some describe this as the quiet beginning of a new monetary system, one based not on speculation, but on intrinsic value and resource backing. Others caution that the transition must be carefully managed to prevent inflationary shocks or destabilization of existing markets. Yet nearly all agree that if verified, this shift will be remembered as a defining moment in economic history, the day when asset-backed money returned to global circulation. Financial analysts also note that this transformation could strengthen global transparency. Reports suggest that digital ledgers and blockchain audit trails are being used to record every transaction in real time. This approach ensures that the revaluation process remains verifiable and resistant to manipulation. The integration of technology, gold and oil-backed reserves into one transparent system may signal the dawn of a new financial model, one that combines traditional wealth with modern accountability. Despite the monumental nature of this event, mainstream media coverage remains limited. Many have questioned why major outlets have not yet reported on such a global development. Journalists claim embargoes and verification delays are responsible, but the silence has only fueled more public curiosity. In the absence of mainstream reporting, online communities, analysts, and independent financial observers have become the primary sources of updates, spreading information to millions across social platforms. For ordinary citizens in Iraq and Vietnam, the human impact of this development could be profound. A stronger national currency means increased purchasing power, economic stability, and renewed confidence in the domestic banking system. For decades, both nations faced the challenges of inflation, corruption, and dependency on foreign aid. A revaluation of this magnitude could lift millions out of poverty and transform local economies overnight. Meanwhile, governments worldwide are expected to respond carefully. Countries heavily invested in dollar-denominated debt may face new challenges, while those aligned with asset-backed trade networks could benefit. Diplomatic negotiations are likely already underway as global institutions prepare for this shift. The International Monetary Fund and other regulators may soon step forward with frameworks to stabilize markets and ensure a smooth transition. Experts predict that over the coming weeks, more nations will reveal their positions regarding this revaluation. As the dust settles, financial systems will begin adjusting to the new currency landscape. Investors are being urged to remain patient as official confirmations, liquidity releases, and public rate updates may take several days to appear across global trading platforms. For now, the world watches. What began as whispers among investors has become a breaking global story that could redefine wealth and sovereignty. The Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong valuations represent more than a financial event. They symbolize a turning point in human economic history, a return to tangible value, a rebalancing of global power, and perhaps the beginning of a new monetary age. As night falls across financial capitals from New York to Baghdad and from Hanoi to London, one thing is clear. The old financial order is shifting. Whether this moment ushers in prosperity or uncertainty remains to be seen. But tonight, the world stands on edge, watching as two nations long underestimated rise to claim their place among the giants of global finance. And that concludes our special report. Stay tuned to Iraqi Dinar News for continuous coverage, verified updates, and real-time insights of this unprecedented financial transformation continues to unfold. The revaluation is here and the world will never be the same. In today's edition of Iraqi Dinar News, an urgent message is making waves across the global currency community. What was once whispered in private investor circles is now gaining worldwide attention. The long-anticipated contract rate window appears to be approaching, and only those who are organized, verified, and ready will have a chance to benefit. The difference between success and disappointment may come down to simple preparation. As redemption centers move closer to activation and banking protocols finalize, experts warn that hesitation could mean missing out on life-changing financial opportunities. If you hold Iraqi Dinar, Vietnamese Dong, or Zimbabwean Zim notes, today's report outlines your step-by-step readiness checklist to help ensure you're not left behind when the calls begin. Across multiple regions, reliable financial sources describe the upcoming redemption phase as both structured and selective. The term contract rate is no longer a rumor. It represents a premium exchange value reserved for vetted individuals who meet specific requirements. These rates are expected to be higher than standard street values, often tied to humanitarian commitments, reconstruction projects, or long-term reinvestment plans. The key message circulating within advisory circles is simple. This process will not reward the unprepared. Each investor is urged to gather documentation, verify authenticity, and create a plan that demonstrates responsible wealth use. Those who arrive at redemption centers disorganized or uncertain will likely face delays or disqualification. Experts emphasize that the first step toward readiness is documentation. Every investor should possess multiple forms of valid government identification, such as passports or driver's licenses. Proof of legal currency acquisition is essential, including purchase receipts or notarized affidavits confirming ownership. Address verification through utility bills or tax statements provides further legitimacy. Financial institutions involved in redemptions will also evaluate banking history, existing accounts, and know your customer (KYC) compliance. Investors lacking clear records may struggle to qualify for premium offers. The process is designed to prevent fraud and to reward those who have prepared with integrity and attention to detail. Beyond documentation, the second key requirement is presentation. Redemption appointments are expected to be brief, highly secure, and precisely managed. Investors will need to demonstrate not only ownership of legitimate currency, but also readiness to handle large transactions responsibly. Experts recommend organizing every file, both digital and physical, into labeled folders. Having a printed and digital backup of all required materials can prevent unnecessary delays. Some analysts suggest practicing a short 2-minute explanation of your reinvestment or humanitarian project proposal, ensuring that your message is clear, concise, and aligns with financial development goals. The third element on the checklist involves mindset and discipline. Analysts consistently highlight that contract rate access will require a calm, professional attitude. Redemption staff are trained to evaluate behavior and organization. Investors who appear impatient Disorganized or argumentative may be viewed as higher risk and offered only market value. This isn't a typical bank visit. It's a strategic financial process with tight security protocols. Maintaining composure, clarity, and professionalism can make the difference between premium access and standard exchange outcomes. Another essential component is understanding how non-disclosure agreements (NDAs) will function during the exchange. Premium rate participants will almost certainly be required to sign NDAs to protect market stability and prevent information leaks. Breaking such agreements could result in severe penalties or forfeited payouts. Financial analysts advise investors to take these contracts seriously, read every clause carefully, and maintain absolute confidentiality afterward. Silence and discretion are not just suggestions. They are conditions of participation. Moving forward, the contract rate opportunity will favor investors who have done their research on participating banks. Reports suggest that major Tier 1 institutions such as global banks with wealth management divisions may have exclusive authority to offer premium rates. Smaller or regional banks could provide only standard exchanges. Therefore, understanding which institutions are prepared for redemption processing and how to contact their private client desks will be crucial. Investors should know the difference between legitimate redemption centers and unauthorized exchange schemes that have no institutional backing. Avoiding scams remains one of the most critical topics on the checklist. As excitement rises, opportunists may attempt to exploit investors through fake offers, counterfeit appointments, or requests to mail currency in advance. Financial authorities warn that no legitimate redemption center will require currency to be shipped before verification. Every investor should verify the identity and credentials of any intermediary or group claiming to arrange private appointments. Trust must be built on documentation, not verbal promises. The safest route remains direct communication with authorized banking representatives once official announcements are made. Preparation also includes organizing a realistic reinvestment or humanitarian proposal. Many analysts believe that redemption centers may prioritize contract rate eligibility for holders who demonstrate clear plans to reinvest in socially beneficial projects. These could include education programs, healthcare initiatives, community infrastructure, or environmental restoration efforts. Such plans indicate that investors intend to use their new wealth productively. Creating a concise written outline of your intended project can display seriousness and alignment with broader economic development goals. Experts advise keeping your proposal under 2 pages, focusing on impact, structure, and measurable outcomes. The purpose is not to impress with big promises, but to show readiness and accountability. An investor who presents a well-organized project document stands out immediately to evaluators. Include estimated budgets, timeframes, and the positive effects your project could have on employment or community well-being. Some advisors recommend preparing a brief executive summary that can be quickly reviewed during appointments. This helps redemption officers assess your preparedness at a glance. Time management is another crucial element of the checklist. Once redemption windows open, appointments are expected to be scheduled rapidly and in limited batches. Investors may receive notifications by phone, text, or secure email with strict time slots. Missing an appointment or arriving late could lead to forfeiture. This is why experts urge currency holders to maintain accessible communication channels and to monitor official updates daily. Prepared investors will already have transportation plans, security arrangements, and backup schedules ready to ensure they reach their designated centers on time. The upcoming redemption period will likely operate around the clock in controlled environments. Each exchange could last only 20 to 40 minutes depending on complexity. Within that time, investors must verify their identity, authenticate currency, and sign required documents. Contract rate candidates may then be directed into separate areas for confidential processing. Understanding this sequence before arriving can prevent confusion. Walking into a redemption center with clear expectations can save critical minutes and demonstrate professionalism under pressure. Analysts also highlight the importance of financial structuring after the exchange. Securing a premium rate is only the beginning of a larger wealth management journey. Post-exchange planning should include legal consultation, tax planning, and the creation of asset protection entities such as trusts or limited liability companies. The initial 90 days after redemption may bring significant market volatility and regulatory adjustments. Investors who lack an organized advisory team risk losing substantial amounts through poor management or tax errors. Setting up professional guidance early ensures long-term stability. Another frequently overlooked factor is security. Once funds are received, investors should follow strict personal and digital protection measures. Avoid public discussions about your exchange. Keep all related documents in encrypted storage and consult professionals about cybersecurity for online banking. Financial planners suggest diversifying funds across secure institutions rather than keeping everything in a single account. Real wealth demands real responsibility, and safeguarding that wealth must become a daily habit from day one. Observers of previous economic resets note that timing and readiness always determine outcomes. In this situation, the most disciplined participants will move first, while those who hesitate or doubt will find themselves too late. The contract rate system appears to operate on limited quotas and first-come, fully vetted access. Delays in preparation can translate directly into lost millions. The simplest approach is to complete your checklist now. Verify your notes, finalize your documents, and create a communication plan so that you are ready when official instructions are issued. At the heart of this process lies one principle: organization equals opportunity. Those who treat this as a professional operation will be treated like professionals. Those who approach it casually will be treated like amateurs. The financial world rewards those who prepare quietly and act precisely. A single missing document, an expired ID, or an unverified receipt could determine whether you qualify for premium rates or not. The checklist is not merely paperwork. It's the roadmap to financial transformation. Industry insiders also remind investors that real success extends beyond personal profit. Contract rate participants who reinvest into communities, education, or technology development will likely see their wealth multiply in ways that benefit society as well as themselves. Responsible reinvestment involves partnerships with banks, governments, and global organizations that value sustainability and transparency. By demonstrating foresight and generosity, investors can turn a one-time exchange into a lifetime legacy. As the global financial system edges closer to major transitions, staying informed and proactive becomes vital. Every credible advisor now echoes the same warning. The window will not remain open indefinitely. Once allocations are met, the contract rate phase will close and latecomers will receive standard rates. There will be no extensions or exceptions. The investors who act with urgency, discipline, and clarity will capture the reward. Everyone else will be left wondering what went wrong. In conclusion, the message is clear. Miss this and you may miss millions. The contract rate opportunity is real, but it belongs only to those who prepare. Review your checklist today. Verify your identification. Confirm the legitimacy of your currency. Organize your proposal. And stay silent about your plans. When the call arrives, step forward with confidence because hesitation has no place in financial history. The moment is approaching, the stage is set, and your readiness will decide your result. This is Iraqi Dinar News reminding every listener that preparation is profit, and discipline determines destiny.